Good day everyone, especially you ma'am. So we are the reporters for this module 6, which is reasoning immediate inference. And we will be discussing this topic. But first, let me introduce myself. My name is Ellie Jonalyn M. and I am the first reporter for this topic. Reasoning is a mental operation through which the agreement or disagreement of two ideas is inferred from their non-relation to a common third idea. So, ang reasoning is a mental operation. So, what is mental operation? Mental operations are operations that affect mental contents or mga operasyon na nakakaapekto sa mga nilalaman ng isip, na kung saan daw ang pagsang-ayon o hindi pagkakasundo ng dalawang ideya ay hinuha mula sa kanilang kilalang kaugnayan sa isang karaniwang ikatlong ideya. Halimbawa pa ng kahulugan ng reasoning. Ang reasoning ay isang anyo ng pag-iisip kung saan ang mga premises. So, yung premises ay isang proposition na nauna ng napatunayan bilang batayan ng argumento or inference. At mga relasyon sa pagitan ng mga premises ay ginagamit sa isang mahigpit na paraan upang maghinuha ng mga conclusion na kasama ng premises at mga relasyon. So, we have here the two methods involved in reasoning. So, first is the induction and the second is deduction. So, the induction or inductive reasoning is one which proceeds from an individual or particular data to general or universal conclusion. Another definition is induction is a method of reasoning from a part to a whole, from particular to general, or from the individual to universal. So, nagmula daw sa isang bahagi hanggang sa kabuuan o mula sa individual hanggang sa pangkahalatan. For example is, Rodolfo Lozada is a man. Rodolfo Lozada is mortal. All men are mortal. In this example that we can see is, Rodolfo Lozada is a man and also Rodolfo Lozada is a mortal. From individual to universal o mula sa individual hanggang sa pangkahalatan. So, ang pangkalahatan natin is itong all men are mortal. The second method of reasoning is deduction or deductive reasoning, is one which proceeds from a universal data to a particular or individual conclusion. So, ang deduction ay mula sa pangkalahatang data hanggang sa isang particular o individual na conclusion. So, ginagamit natin itong deduction kapag kumukuha tayo mula sa isang bagay na naobserbahan natin sa pangkalahatan at nilalapat ito sa isang particular na case o kaso. So, this is the example of deduction. All government employees are mortal. All honest persons are government employees. Every honest person is mortal. So, in this example that we can see, mula sa isang bagay na naobserbahan natin sa pangkalahatan, which is itong all government employees are mortal and all honest persons are government employees, into every honest person is mortal at nailapat ito sa isang particular na kaso or case na lamang. Inference refers to any process through which the mind proceeds from one or more propositions to other propositions whose meaning are already implied in the former. So, yung inference ay tumutukoy sa anumang proseso kung saan ang isip ay nagpapatuloy mula sa isa o higit pang mga panukala or propositions patungo sa iba pang mga panukala na ang kahulugan ay pinahiwatig na sa una. Another definition of inference. So, yung inference daw ay ang proseso ng pag-iisip mula sa kung ano ang sa tingin natin ay totoo hanggang sa kung ano pa ang sa tingin natin ay totoo. For example, number 1, all men are mortal. Barack Obama is a man. Barack Obama is mortal. Number 2, Osama bin Laden is a man. Osama bin Laden is mortal. There are two kinds of inference. First is immediate and second is immediate. Immediate inference is a process of reasoning through which the mind passes directly from one proposition to a new proposition, which is nothing else but a reformulation of the very exact meaning of truth expressed in the original proposition. So, ang immediate inference ay isang proseso ng pangangatwiran kung saan ang isang isip ay direktang dumadaan mula sa isang panukala patungo sa isang bagong panukala or proposition na walang iba kundi isang reformulasyon ng mismo eksaktong kahulugan o katotohanan na ipinahayag sa orihinal na panukala. Immediate inference maaaring gawin mula sa isang pahayag o proposition lamang. For example, no Iraqis are Jews, no Jews are Iraqis. In the example, only the subject term and the predicate term are the basis of reasoning. The S in the parenthesis is the subject term and the P is the predicate term. Kaya sa isang immediate inference, ang isip ay gumuhit ng konklusyon ng hindi gumagamit ng third term called middle term. Deduction. This is a kind of immediate inference where a new proposition is formulated either by interchanging the subject and the predicate terms of the original proposition or by the use or removal of negatives. So, isa itong uri ng immediate inference na kung saan ang isang bagong proposition ay nabuo sa pamamagitan ng pagpapalit ng subject and predicate terms of the original proposition o sa pamamagitan ng paggamit o paghaalis ng mga negatibo. Conversion. This refers to the formulation of a new proposition by way of interchanging the subject and the predicate terms of an original proposition with the quality of the original proposition retained. Conversion ay tumutukoy sa pagbabalangkas or formulation ng isang bagong proposition sa pamamagitan ng pagpapalit ng subject and predicate terms of an original proposition na may kalidad na original na proposition na napanatili. Conversion has two parts. First, converted and second is converse. So we have here the example of conversion. New Democrat is a Republican. No Republican is Democrat. Sa naunang halimbawa, the functions of the subjects and the predicate terms are interchanged. Kaya ang subject term Democrat sa converted ang naging predicate term in the converse. On the other hand, the predicate term Republican in the converted ay nagiging subject term in the converse. Sa kabila ng pagpapalitan ng subject and predicate terms, in the conversion, dapat itong tandaan na ito ay kinakailangan that the quality of the converted be maintained in the converse. Hence, the converse still remains an e-proposition. Nangangahulugan ito na ang kahulugan ng converted ay pinapanatili sa kabaliktaran. So that's all my topic for this module 6. The next reporter we will be continue this topic. So that's all.
Good day, I am Ronit Flores and I am the second reporter of Module 6 entitled Reasoning Immediate Inference. So there are two types of conversion, the simple and partial. Simple conversion. It is a kind of conversion in which the quantity of the converted is retained in the converse. It follows that if the converted is universal, the converse must also be universal, or if the converted is particular, the converse must also be particular. Of the four types of categorical propositions, A, E, I, and Q, only E and I propositions can be reformulated by simple conversion. For example, dito sa number 1, no men are mortals. And then, pag binaliktad natin siya, no mortals are men. Always remember that ang subject natin dito is men and then ang predicate natin dito is mortals. So binaliktad lang yung subject at predicate. Pinagpalit lang silang dalawa. So sa number 1 is no men, yung men ang subject and then ang mortals are predicate. No men are mortals. Pag binaliktad na yung prepositions, naging no mortals are men. So naging nauna na yung predicate, nasa last na yung subject. An a proposition cannot be converted by simple conversion because the quantity of the predicate term in the converted or particular, which becomes the subject term, the converse or universal, cannot be retained. In the converted, the quantity of the predicate term is particular, but in the converse, the quantity of the subject term or formerly predicate term in the converted is universal. Tignan nyo itong example. The example is all dogs are animals. So, ang subject natin is dogs. Ang predicate natin is animals. Animals is universal. Iba-ibang hayop. But ang subject natin is only dogs. Nag-iisa lang siya ang klase ng hayop. So, pag binaliktad natin yan siya, all animals are dogs. So, yung universal na animals naging subject and then yung dogs naging predicate. Iba na yung kalabasan ng propositions. Like an A proposition, an O proposition cannot be simply converted. The reason is that the subject term of the converted, being made the predicate term of a negative proposition, would be changed from a particular term to a universal term. So, the example is, some birds are not animals. Particular lang siya sa mga ibang ibon ay hindi hayop, yung ibang ibon. Pero kapag binaligtad na siya, nagiging some animals are not birds. So, naging universal na siya kasi nga, yung ibang animals na ang pinag-uusapan. Then, yung ibang animals ay hindi ibon. So, let's proceed to the partial conversion. This is a kind of conversion wherein the quantity of the converted is reduced from universal to particular. This implies that partial conversion is applicable only to A and E propositions. As a result, an A proposition can be converted by partial conversion to an I proposition, while an E proposition to an O proposition. So, kung sa simple conversion is from particular term to universal term, dito naman sa partial conversion is from universal term to particular term. Example, all computers are gadgets. So, ang computers are universal, then gadgets are particular. Pag binaliktad na ang proposition, nagiging some gadgets are computers. Yung gadgets na yung pinag-uusapan. Number 2, no computers are robots. So, computers are universal, then robots are particular. Pag binaliktad na, some robots are not computers. So, yung robots is the particular term na hindi computers. Let's proceed to the obversion. This is a kind of deduction in which a new proposition is formulated by retaining the propositions of the subject and predicate terms and the quantity of the original proposition. However, the quality of the original proposition is changed and the predicate term is replaced by its contradictory. A new proposition or obverse is formulated as follows. A. Retain the propositions of the subject and predicate terms and the quantity of the original proposition or overtend. B. Change the quality of the original proposition from affirmative to negative or from negative to affirmative in the obverse. And C. Change the predicate of the original proposition to its contradictory in the obverse. So, kung doon sa converse, yung subject natin at predicate ay binabaliktad or chine-change sila sa isa't isa, Dito naman sa aversion, yung subject natin will remain. Ganun pa rin siya. Pero pag binaligtad na yung proposition, yung predicate natin will change from affirmative to negative or from negative to affirmative. Only the predicate. Then, the next one is the contraposition. This is a kind of reduction which results from a formulation of a new proposition whose subject term is the contradictory of the predicate term in the original proposition. In principle, contraposition is a product of both conversion and aversion. Thus, like conversion, contraposition involves an interchange of the subject and predicate terms. Like aversion, it involves either the use or removal of negative which affects the copula and the term. So, kung sa ibang induction, iniiba ang subject or predicate, dito naman sa contraposition, iniiba lahat. There are two types of contraposition, partial or simple and complete. Partial contraposition involves the formulation of a new proposition or contraposite as follows. A. Its contraposite subject is the contradictory of the predicate term of the original proposition or contraponent. B. The quality of the contraponent is changed in the contraposite. And C. The predicate term in the contraposite is the subject term in the contraponent. In partial contraposition, an A proposition is changed to E, an E proposition to I, and an O proposition to I. For example, contraponent, all whales are mammals. Pag binaliktad na siya into contraposite, no non-mammals are whales. So, dahil nga ang contraposition is combination na siya ng conversion at aversion, pagdating dito sa contraposite niya, pinaghalo na lahat. So, ang contraponent is all whales are mammals. Dito sa contraposite, no non-mammals are whales. So, yung whales yung subject, di ba? And then, yung predicate is mammals. Then, sa contraposite na, yung subject na is mammals. And then, yung predicate na is whales. But, yung subject niya is, hinaluan na siya ng aversion or the word none. No non-mammals are whales. Number 2, ang contraponent is no fishes are dogs. So, ang contraposite niya is some non-dogs are fishes. Then, the number 3 in contraponent niya is some students are not studious. So, ang contraposite niya is some non-studious are students. Yan yung partial contraposition. Next is the complete contraposition. A new position or contraposite is formulated according to the following conditions. A. The subject term in the contraposite is the contradictory of the predicate term in the contraponent. B. The quality of the contraponent is not changed in the contraposite. And C. The predicate term in the contraposite is the contradictory of the subject term in the contraponent. So, dito sa complete contraposition, ang contraposite ng subject at predicate is contradictory na sa isa't isa. So, for example, the contraponent is all whales are mammals. Sa pag binaligtad na siya into contraposite, all non-mammals are non-whales. The number 2, contraponent niya is no fish is a dog. Pag binaligtad into contraposite, some non-dog is not a non-fish. And number 3 is contraponent some students are not studious. Ang contraposite niya is some non-studious are not non-students. So that's it for my report, and God bless.
I am Giovanni Consuan, Lumiere, the third report. Reasoning and inversion of I proposition is short life. It only reaches the very first step. I in E first aversion. Ang pangatwiran sa inversion ng I proposition ay panandalian. Ito ay umaabot lamang sa pinakaunang hakbang, ibig sabihin unang aversion. As presented above, the obverse of I proposition, which is O proposition, does not have a simple conversion. According to the rules of conversion, only E and I proposition have simple conversion. Therefore, like E proposition, I proposition cannot be subjected to inverse. Gaya ng ipinakita sa taas, ang kabaliktaran ng I proposition na O proposition ay walang simpleng conversion. Ayon sa mga tuntunin ng conversion, ang E at I na proposition lamang ang may simpleng conversion sa makatuwid, tulad ng I proposition, E proposition, I proposition ay hindi maaaring sa ilalim sa example of O proposition as inverted. Inverted, some government officials are not corrupt. Obverse, some government officials are no corrupt. 1. Converse or simple, some non-corrupt individual or government official. 1. Obverse, some non-corrupt individual are not non-government official. Converse, partial, non-inverse. Ibig sabihin ng inverted, balikta. Like E in I proposition, O proposition does not have an inverse. This is because as soon as reasoning in inversion reaches the third step, I in E, second aversion, the mind discovers that an O proposition does not have partial conversion. Tulad ng E at I proposition o proposition ay walang inverse. Ito ay dahil sa sandaling ang pangangatwiran sa inversion ay umabot sa ikatlong hakbang. Ibig sabihin, pangalawang inversion, natuklasan na ang isip na ang O proposition ay walang partial sa conversion. Here's summary of the rules of education. 1. Rule of conversion. A. Interchange the subject and the predicate terms. B. Rating the quality of the converted and the converse. C. Do not extend any terms or subject or predicate of the converted in the converse is a simple conversion. The quality of the terms in the converted should be maintained in the converse. So only proposition E and 2E and I to 1 qualify for simple conversation. D. Reduce the quality but retain the quality of the converted in the converse and partial conversation. So only the following types of categorical proposition. Quality for partial conversion, A to 1 and E to O. Number 2 of role of aversion. A. Rating the position of the subject and the predicate terms. Panatilihin ang posisyon ng paksa at ang mga termino ng panaguri. B. Rating the quantity of the inverted and the observed. Panatilihin ang dami ng inverted sa observed. C. Change the quality of the inverted and the observed. Binago ang kalidad ng inverted sa observed. D. The predicate term of the inverted shall be changed to its contradictory in the observed. Ang termino ng panaguri ng inverted ay dapat na baguhin sa kasalungat nito sa observed. Number 3, role of the contraposition. A. Simple partial contraposition. The subject term of the contraposite and the contradictory of the predicate in the contraponent. Ang paksang termino ng kontraposito sa kasalungat na panaguri sa contraponent. The quality of the contraponent is changed in the contraposite. Ang kalidad ng contraponent ay binago sa contraposito. The predicate term of the contraposite is the subject term in the contraponent. Ang termino ng panaguri na contraposite ay hindi terminong paksa sa contraponent. B. Complete contraposition. The subject term of the contraposite is the contradictory of the predicate terms in the contraponent. Ang paksang termino ng contraposite ay ang kasalungat ng mga termino ng panaguri sa contraponent. The quality of the contraponent is not changed in the contraposite. Ang kalidad ng contraponent ay binago sa contraposite. The predicate term of the contraposite, ang termen ng panaguri na contraposite.
Number 4, inversion. This is a method of education in which the mind, through aversion and conversation, finally arrives at a judgment. Inverse. All subjects and predicate terms are contradictories of the subject and predicate terms in the original position. Inverted. The following illustrate the step involved in inversion. Inversion, ito ay isang paaraan ng edukasyon kung saan ang isip sa pamamagitan ng aversion at pag-usap sa wakas ay dumating sa isang paghatol. Inverse na ang paksa at panaguri ay magkasalungat ng paksa at panaguri ng mga termin sa original na prosesyon. Baliktad. Ang mga sumusunod ay naglalarawan ng mga hakbang na kasalungat sa pagbabaliktad. Inverted. All terrorists are criminals. A. To observe, to terrorists are non-criminals. E. And 2. Converse simple. To non-criminal are terrorists. E. And 2. Obverse, all non-criminal are non-terrorists. A. And 2. Claim verse partial. Some non-terrorists are non-criminals. 1. 2. Inverse, some non-terrorists are non-criminals. It's worthwhile to note that from among the 4 types of categorical proposition, only A proposition is qualified for inversion. Mahalaga tandaan na mula sa 4 na uri ng kategoryang proposition, isang proposition lamang ang kwalipikado para sa pagbabaliktad. To expand this assertion, each of the remaining 3 types of categorical proposition should be considered E and O upang ipaliwanag ang assertion na ito. Bawat isa na sa natitirang 3 uri ng kategoryang proposition ay dapat ito rin na E at O. Example of E proposition as inverted. Inverted, no corrupt government official are wholly. Obverse, all corrupt government official are non-wholly A. Converse simple, none. Obverse, none. Converse partial, none. Inverse, none.